Realtors, what do you need to know about ADUs or accessory dwelling units? There is legislation working its way through North Carolina right now that would make it easier for property owners to build ADUs. What do you need to know if you're representing someone who's selling one, or more importantly, if you are representing a buyer who wants to buy a property that has an existing ADU on it? First, my name is Steve Doherty. I'm a loan officer in Raleigh, North Carolina, a United States Marine Corps veteran. I work at Advantage Lending in Raleigh, North Carolina. So can you get mortgage financing on a property that has an ADU or an accessory dwelling unit? The short answer is yes, but there are lots of things you have to look out for. First of all, does this property have comps? Meaning, are there other comps out there with ADUs on them? There aren't a lot of ADUs out there, right? So can adjustments be made? Yes, but appraisers can be reluctant to do this. The appraiser has to justify and support those adjustments. And that can be a big one when we're talking about an entirely different living structure. Two, it's much better if the unit is attached to the house. Even if it's kind of like a covered walkway, you might be able to get away with not classifying this as an ADU at all. What's the benefit to that? The benefit is that you don't have to watch the rest of this video. No, but really, if it's considered part of the house and not an ADU, then that's really just square footage that can possibly just get pulled into the appraisal. Three, be aware of zoning and setback issues, right? This goes without saying, really applies on every transaction, but more so on these ADUs, as these are, generally speaking, offset from the footprint of the main structure and could be placed further away from the home, especially when they're not placed over a garage. Number four, this legislation right now is being proposed to affect cities with a population over 50,000. So it may not really be that relevant for folks in smaller towns or the towns outside of the larger ones. Five, if this ADU is similar enough to the main structure of the home, it may not be considered an ADU at all, even though it has all the ADU hallmarks. What could happen is it could be treated like a duplex. Also, for that ADU to stand a chance of getting some kind of valuation, it must be a standalone residence. That means it must have a kitchen, it must have a sleeping space, it must have a full bathroom, and most importantly, it must have its own designated point of entry. And finally, make sure that this ADU is permanently affixed to the ground. So really, it must look like a house that's just smaller.